We're going to face this way with the camera because it was too much like sunlight the other direction. So that's the story there. We'll start seated and then we'll make our way down to our backs to use the strap and kind of do some nice stretching exercises. So welcome everybody on Zoom. So starting just in that very comfortable Sukhasana, easy pose. And maybe just a little sway here side to side to find those sits bones, maybe move the flesh out from underneath the sits bones. And then just sitting nice and tall, closing your eyes. Just bringing your awareness to your breath. Noticing that as you inhale, you grow taller. And as you exhale, you ground just a little bit more, softening the spine. And then just beginning to exaggerate this movement with your breath and your spine. So as you sit up tall on this next inhale, begin to tilt your pelvis forward, open the heart space, maybe tip the chin up, lengthen through the crown of the head. And on your exhale, rounding the spine, drawing the navel in. Maybe hang on to your knees, seated cat pose. And inhaling. Again, opening the heart, maybe squeezing those elbows towards your waist, lifting the chin a little higher, dropping the head back, and exhale, rounding. So giving yourself plenty of time with these long breaths to get this full cow pose, full neck and spine extension. And exhaling, full spinal flexion. One more round here. And exhale, rounding. And then on our next breath, we're going to inhale, take our arms up overhead. And on your exhale, come on down to just, it doesn't matter which side, take the hand out to the side and side bend. Really getting into that side waist. Anchor the sits bones. Take another breath here. And inhale, come on up, switch sides. Easing into this stretch. Inhale, come on up. Both sides, one more round. Use the inhale to come up and the exhale to side bend. And coming up to a neutral position, let's hug our knees in towards our chest here. We're going to just get a little bit of core work out of the way. So really squeezing those knees in, maybe lifting the feet off of the mat, maybe just flex and point the toes. Take some length in the neck. And if you want to engage the core just a little bit more, just unfolding the arms. And maybe with control, starting to lengthen the legs out. Go slowly, go only to the point that your back can stay nice and strong and straight. If you go too straight, too fast, sometimes that back rounds. Beautiful. All right, slowly with control, bring the feet down to the mat. And we're going to go ahead and lower onto our backs. Nice and slow. And then let's take a nice long stretch here. Reach the arms overhead. And you can interlace the fingers and press the palms away. And then keeping your spine on the mat, take your arms and walk them off the mat to the right. And then take your legs off to the right as well. So creating a crescent shape. You can take the left leg ankle over the right ankle. Feel that nice long stretch on the left side body. A little bit of a contraction on the right side body, shortening that side waist. Shoulders stay grounded. And then on your next breath, go ahead and come back to the midline, uncrossing, lengthening, and then walk everything over to your left. Right ankle crosses over the left ankle. Getting that nice deep stretch sideways. And then slowly coming back to the midline. And we're going to bend the knees, plant the feet onto the mat here, and grab a hold of your strap. So you guys have seen me demonstrate this many times with the strap. So I think if you need the strap, what you're going to do is reach that right foot up, and you're going to take the strap into your right sole of your foot. If you don't have a strap, you can grab onto the ankle or the big toe or whatever you can reach. And try to draw that leg in close to you, but only as far as that hamstring will allow. So if the knee starts to buckle, we don't want to go any further. Just to that point where we can keep the leg nice and straight, lengthening through the heel. Perfect. Waking up the hamstrings. Now slowly, see if you can take your left leg out straight on the mat. So you're reaching through both heels. And then slowly easing that right leg out to the side. You can take your left hand and ground that left hip to the mat and slowly opening the leg out to the side. Getting that nice inner thigh stretch. And then reaching that leg back up. And you can take the strap into the opposite left hand and take that leg just across midline. Keep the right hip kind of glued to the mat. So you're just crossing midline about 40, 45 degrees just to get into that IT band. And then go ahead and let this right leg travel all the way across your mat to take a full supine twist. You can either let go of the strap to let the leg travel across, or you can kind of use it to assist you. Stay grounded through the shoulders. And maybe an opportunity here to look over that opposite shoulder to the right side. Full supine twist. And then very slowly come on back to midline. You can release the strap from the right foot, and then we'll switch sides. So taking the left leg up, strap goes into that left foot, or alternately, you can just hold on to the calf or the shin. And just drawing that leg a little bit closer in towards your chest. And whenever you're ready, taking that right leg and extending it onto the mat. Reaching through both heels. And then easing that leg out to the side to get your inner thighs stretch. It's always great when you run into a wall because then you have a little extra support there. And then letting that leg come back upright, switching the straps into your right hand, keeping that left hip grounded just cross midline first. There's that 30, 40, 45-degree angle to get into the IT band. And then you can let that left hip rise and continue to just cross over into your full twist. You can gaze over your opposite left shoulder. And then very slowly coming back in. And let's grab those knees and hug them into your chest. Draw your forehead up towards your knees. Exhale, take the head and shoulders back down to the mat. Plant your feet to the mat about hip distance apart. Our hands are going to come alongside our hips. And we're going to do a couple of breathing bridges. So we're going to inhale, peel the hips up off the ground and start to raise your hands up towards the ceiling and maybe overhead. Back of the hands come towards the floor above you. And then on your exhale, slowly lower the hips, lower the hands back to the mat. So really working slowly here so those core muscles have a chance to work. So it's peeling up, lifting each vertebrae up off the mat, taking the arms up overhead. Lift the hips as high as you can. And from here, we're just going to stay lifted, and we're going to see if we can just take that right leg up to the ceiling. So stay bridging with the right leg up overhead. And then on your exhale, we're going to slowly lower the hips and see if you can take that right heel and lower the heel, hovering over the mat. So this is going to be a kind of a one-legged bridge here. So we're going to lift up again, hips, heel, arms come overhead, and exhale, lower. Third time's a charm, one more lift. And then go ahead and bend that right knee, sending that right ankle over the left knee, and then go ahead and lower down. And the hands can come alongside of your hips. So we're in that upside down pigeon pose. Option here would be to pick up that left foot and interlace your hands behind the left thigh. One more option, just depending on where you are this morning, is to extend that left heel up towards the ceiling. And then go ahead and release, uncrossing the legs. And we will switch sides here. So we're going to, again, bridge up. Get a nice solid bridge. You can take the arms overhead. Get the shoulders stretch in. Keep lifting the hips. Send that left leg up high to the sky here towards the ceiling. And then as you lower, you're going to lower the heel and the hands and the hips at the same time with control. Inhale, lift. Much harder one-legged. And exhale, lower. One more time. Lift the hips, the heels, and go ahead and bend that left knee, send the left ankle over that right, and slowly lower down. Hands can come alongside of your hips, or you can thread them behind the right thigh for upside down pigeon. Option to send that right heel up towards the ceiling. And exhale. Release everything. And we're just going to twist it out here like a windshield wiper, dropping the knees from side to side. Releasing any tension in the low back. All right, we have two choices next. We're either going to hold those knees in towards the chest and kind of roll front and back on our mat and come on up to a boat pose. The other choice would be to roll on to either your left or your right side and press on up to seated. So I know sometimes people don't like that rolling piece of yoga. So coming up again to Sukhasana, crossing the ankles. And we'll take a couple of twists. So inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Lengthen through the torso, get some waist length here. Exhale, twist to your right. Look over your right shoulder. Stay nice and tall. Light fingertips on that right hand. And inhale, sweep the arms up. Beautiful. And twist to your left. And inhale, come on up. And exhale, look up, take your palms together, slowly slide those hands down to the heart space. Very nice. All right, coming on to about the center of your mat in hands and knees. I think I have to turn this way. I don't want to moon the camera. All right, so we're going to step the right foot forward and just come into a nice low lunge. So bring the hips forward so that you don't have pressure directly onto that left knee. If you need to pad the knee or flip the mat over just to give yourself a little extra padding, you can do that. Sweep the arms up, crescent moon pose. Gaze can go up. And on your exhale, you're going to take your hands down to the mat, shift your hips back. Again, getting into this hamstring on the right leg. And then press into this forward right foot and reach up. So I wish you guys could all see our friend Paula here, because that's actually where we're going next, is just a little work into our splits. So what we're going to do is hinge the hips back, getting into that hamstring. Next, inhale, reach the arms up, find your crescent moon stretch. You're going to feel the stretch on this back left thigh. And then locate your block. Most of us are going to need a block here. Hinge your hips back. You're going to set that block underneath this front right thigh. And then you're going to creep this right leg forward. And just take your time here. And you might be able to reach the back of that thigh to the block. So it's a nice option for splits here to give ourselves that little bit of extra help. And slowly wiggle this front leg back. Oops. And let's come on back to hands and knees. Set that block to the side. We're going to switch legs, left foot forward. Find that low lunge first. So a lot of what's going on in splits is both legs. That front hip flexor has to be straightened and stretched. And then, of course, the hamstring. So to reach the arms up, getting into all these muscles on the front of the body on that right side. Hip flexors, psoas muscle. Exhale, hinge forward, straightening that left leg. One more time. Come on up. Moon pose. And exhale, hinge back. And of course, you can stay here just hinging and stretching, or you can take that block underneath the left thigh. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle that left leg forward until you find your splits on the other side. Nothing like doing splits and not your daughter's yoga, right? We all probably remember a time when splits were maybe possible. Not so much anymore. All right, go ahead and ease that leg back to hands and knees. We're going to get a little stretch into our shoulders here. So keep your hips right over your knees. Walk your hands forward. We're going to find puppy pose. So opening the armpits up towards the mat, lengthening the spine, getting that nice deep stretch into the shoulders. Breathing here. All right, on your next inhale, come up. You can walk your hands back a few inches, but still keep the hands in front of the shoulders. We're going to reach the hips forward, low plank. And hug those elbows in towards your waist, slowly lower, chaturanga. And on your inhale, perhaps just a baby cobra. So as you peel your heart up, see if you can just maybe lift the hands up off the mat. Beautiful. Really working the back muscles. Exhale. Press to hands and knees. Reach the hips all the way back for child's pose. And then take a few moments in your child's pose to breathe, sending that breath to your back body. And then slowly, from child's pose, we're going to reach back up to our low plank. Slowly lower chaturanga. Inhale, let's come on up to our forearms. And press the tops of the feet, the tops of the thighs into the mat. And extend through the crown of the head. I always say it's so comfortable just to like slouch and hang out here. But we want to be a really proud sphinx. Lengthening the spine, not jamming that low back. And then take your left hand, cross it over to your right elbow. We'll bend our right foot. Keep both hip bones pressing down to the mat, and then reach back, right hand to that right foot. If you need the strap, you can go ahead and grab that to lasso the foot. And if you want a little bit more stretch, you can draw the heel a little closer to your sits bones. Now switch this energy. Push the foot into the hand. You're going to feel your back muscles working. Option, just an option, to extend this left arm out for half bow. Exhale. Go ahead and release everything down to the mat. Hands come alongside of your chest so that you have about a 90-degree angle at your elbows. And we're going to tuck our toes under. We're going to muscle our way up to a full plank. Nice strong plank pose. Extending through the heels and through the crown of the head. And then go ahead and dip those knees down. Slowly lower chaturanga. Inhale, back to the forearms for Sphinx pose. All right, so for the other side, right hand goes across to the left elbow, bending the left knee. So it's important to press both hip bones down into the mat, because typically when we reach back for that left foot, we take the hip bone off of the mat. So you want to reach back, but then press both hip bones down. And then maybe draw that foot a little closer in. Half frog pose. And then switch that energy, push the foot into the hand or the strap if that's what you're using. Option to take half bow, extending that right arm forward. And exhale. Hands come alongside of your chest again. Elbows have about a 90-degree angle. Tuck your toes under. Press up, plank pose. Okay. Keeping your hands and your feet right where they are. Slight bend to the knees. Root the hips back. You should be in down dog. Stretch the hips back. Lengthen the spine. Try not to change the position of your hands or feet. Next inhale, wave out to plank. Lower chaturanga. You can dip those knees down if you'd like. Hug the elbows in towards your rib cage. Peel up, cobra pose. Exhale, tuck your toes under, muscle your way back up, plank. Slight bend of the knees, root the hips back, down dog. Maybe take a little bit of time here if you'd like, pedaling the legs out in your down dog. Finding what's comfortable for you. Walking your dog. And then look up to your hands and take as many steps as you need to come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. And just hang out here in your forward fold. So we've done lots of work on the hamstring. So this is the time now to let those knees bend a little bit. Maybe the hands come to the opposite elbows. You can sway here. You want to let go of any tension in the head, the neck, the shoulders. Maybe shake the head yes, shake the head no. And then come on up halfway. Extending the spine, gazes down at your mat. Take another breath here. Full inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roots rise. We're going to come all the way up to a standing. Perfect. And we're going to take one hand over to the other and then just pull into another crescent moon pose. So we've done this on our backs. And we did this, a version of the crescent pose in a kneeling pose. And now we're doing it in standing. Inhale, come on up. Switch your grip and bend the other way. Inhale, come up nice and tall. Draw the palms together, slide them down to your heart space. Anjali Mudra. Take a moment here to check in with yourself. Drop the shoulders away from your ears. Take a couple nice big breaths. And then we're going to just take a big step back with the right foot. And start to angle those toes out to the right just a little bit so that your right toes are still pointing to the right corner of your mat. Your legs are in two pathways here. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, warrior one. And then on your exhale, take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, draw the hands away. Maybe look up here a little bit of a back bend. On your exhale, we're going to hinge into the inside of that left thigh for humble warrior. Drop the crown of the head down towards the mat. One more breath. And inhale, release the hands and take them up overhead, warrior one. Lift that back right heel. We're going to pivot open. Drop the arms to a T for warrior two, gazing over your left fingertips. And then flipping that left palm up, reverse your warrior. Beautiful pose. And then your left forearm is going to come on down to your left thigh. And you're going to sweep your right arm alongside of your ear for extended side angle. Your gaze can go up towards the ceiling underneath that right arm. Very nice. Now from here, we're going to turn that core on, parallel the arms, reach them up overhead, straighten that left leg, lift. Lift the fingertips up nice and tall. Exhale, come on back down, warrior two. Maybe come a little deeper into this pose. One more time, lift the arms up overhead, straighten that left leg. And exhale, just drop the arms to a T, keeping the legs straight. Beautiful. And we're going to reach with that left arm and then descend into triangle pose. So tick-tocking the arms, the left arm down, the right arm up, trying to keep the shoulders stacked. Gaze can go up to that lifted right arm. And next inhale, come on up to a T. We're going to go ahead and bend that left knee. We're back into warrior two. Now an option here would be to take a vinyasa to get to the other side. So you can cartwheel the hands down to the mat, you can step back to plank, or you might just want to come to hands and knees and do a lovely little cat and cow pose instead. And then let's all meet in down dog, rooting the hips back and away. Lengthening the spine, stretching those shoulders open. And then look up to your hands. Take as many steps as you need to come to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, come on up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, coming all the way up to standing. And draw those hands down to the heart space. All right, so for all of that on the other side, you guys are going to help me remember, right? So take the left foot back, big steps. Legs are in two track lines. It's important that we find these warrior one legs with two track lines, and the left toes are still pointing up to the left corner of your mat. So just a slight 45-degree angle here. Reach the arms up parallel, warrior one. And then sweep the arms behind your back, interlace your fingers. Open the heart, look up. Keep drawing those hands away. On your exhale, hinge into that right inner thigh. Humble warrior. Dropping the crown of the head to the mat. Take one more full breath, inhaling and exhaling. Next breath, inhale. Release the hands, rise up, take the arms back up overhead, warrior one. Lift that left heel, pivot open, warrior two. So you can always look down at your feet to kind of line your heels up, gazing over the right fingertips. And turning that right palm up, reverse your warrior. That right knee stays bent right over the ankle. And then very slowly take that right forearm down to the thigh. Extended side angle. Reach long with the left fingertips. So you really feel the length in your left side body from the fingertips all the way down to the pinky toe side of that left foot. Parallel the arms, turning on the core. Press up, lift up with the arms. Straighten that right leg. And exhale. Coming into warrior two, maybe a little deeper this time. Inhale, lift, straighten the leg. And maybe one more time, warrior two. Switching your gaze over that right fingers. Inhale, lift. This time the legs stay straight, arms lower to a T. Reach with that right arm and descend over triangle pose. Shoulders staying stacked. Right hip's right underneath that left hip. An arm, that lower left arm doesn't have to reach the floor. It can just reach to the thigh or the shin, whatever works for you today. One more breath. And inhale, coming up to a T. Bending that right knee, warrior two. Option for a vinyasa here. So the hands can sweep forward to the mat on either side of this right foot. You choose plank or hands and knees for a nice little cat and cow. Deciding for yourself what is needed here. And we'll all meet in down dog. So reaching the spine long. Pressing away with the bases of all 10 fingers. Perhaps a slight bend in the knees to reach those hips back even further. And then look up to your hands and step your feet forward. We're going to come on up halfway, telescoping the spine straight, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. You're coming all the way up to standing. And then we're just going to drop this right hand down alongside of us. So we want about the even amount of pressure, samasthiti, so same amount of pressure in both feet, same amount of reach in both hands. And then we're coming into a balanced pose. So we're going to just bend that right knee. See if you can just balance here with the thighs parallel. You can stay right here, working on this balance and this core strength. If it's not too much trouble, maybe you reach the hand back for the foot. And just like we did when we were on our bellies, if you can push that foot into the hand, you can start to make your way into a dancer's pose. I'm cheating because I have the wall back here, but it's a very nice cheat. You can keep the chest lifted as much as possible. Let those back muscles work. And exhale, release. And let's fold forward. Let all the breath out. Inhale, come on up halfway, lengthening the spine. And slight bend to the knees, root to rise. We'll come all the way up to standing. And then dropping the left hand down alongside, reaching the right arm up tall. So finding samasthiti, the same amount of pressure in both feet, stretching the arms in their opposite directions, and then just bending that left knee. So no back bends here, just balance. Hips and shoulders stay square, facing the front of your mats. Only an option to reach the hand to the foot. Only an option to push the foot into the hand for dancers. And when you're ready, releasing and folding forward. Let all that breath out. Inhale, come on up halfway, lengthening the spine. And on your exhale, go ahead and take your time. We're going to come down to hands and knees. And if you need something to pad the knees, you can certainly either double your mat up or throw a blanket under the knees. We're going to do some twisting here. So root down with this left hand, reach the right arm up, twisting open. And on your exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left. Reach through, slowly lowering shoulder to mat. Now, just for a moment, keep that left hand down at the mat supporting you. Check in with your neck. If there's no pressure on the neck, you can send that left arm up and perhaps bind it behind your back. Couple breaths here in your twist. And then slowly, if you reach that left arm up, take it back to the mat. Carefully unwind, sending that right arm up. And then exhale, back to hands and knees. If you want to take a little cat and cow here between sides, you can certainly do that. And coming to that neutral tabletop position for the other side. Lift that left arm up. And exhale, thread it under. Threading the needle, twist. Check in with your neck before taking any other version of this pose. The main reason and purpose for this pose is to get a twist in the spine. So lifting the hand or taking the leg back is just all icing on the cake. But just make sure your neck is in a safe position before you take any other variation. And very slowly untwisting, taking that hand back to the mat, sweep the arm open, and exhale, coming back to hands and knees. Let's take our knees wide. We're going to take the big toes together for a wide knee child's pose. Walking the arms forward, pressing the hips back. Opening up the shoulders. One more breath here. And we're going to inhale. Come on up to hands and knees. And we're just going to crawl forward for lack of better asana name. And we're going to come on to our seats for easy pose, Sukhasana. Make sure that you have plenty of mat behind you. We'll eventually end up lowering to our backs. Turn those palms up at the top of your thighs here. Lengthen the spine. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. Maybe notice if anything has shifted from the beginning of the practice to now. Maybe there's a little bit more calmness. Maybe you're a little bit more in tune to your mind and body. And then very slowly, blink those eyes open. We're going to gather the knees into our chest. And we're going to kind of end here where we started, with lifting our heels up off the mat. You can flex and point the ankles, and then slowly unfolding into your boat pose. Finding strength in your core, lengthen your spine. And then very slowly drop those feet down to the mat. Take the fingertips up high. Exhale, drop the knees open. Let's fold forward, forward fold. It's a very yin version of our forward fold. So softening the back of the neck. And seeing if you can come a little deeper into this pose as you fold. And next inhale, walk yourself up. Hug your knees to your chest. And you have choices for lowering onto your back. So you can either put your hands behind the thighs and slowly ease yourself down, or you can challenge yourself and bring your arms out straight. And once you're down here, let's go ahead and walk the heels a little closer to the sits bones. Keep the feet hip width apart. And then maybe twist here. So rocking the knees from side to side. And you choose the speed. And maybe the next time your knees are on that right side, go ahead and let them rest there. And just coming into a nice deep twist. You can pick up that lower right foot and set it onto the outer edge of your left thigh to get a little deeper stretch here. And then slowly uncrossing, taking the feet back to the mat, dropping the knees to the other side. Option to pick up that lower left foot, cross it over the thigh. Taking those full breaths, feeling the side rib cage open and expand with the breath. And then very slowly go ahead and release that, coming to the center of your mat. And you can hug your knees into your chest. You can come into a happy baby at this point. Maybe just one additional pose before we go in to Shavasana. Not taking yourselves too seriously, making that happy baby kind of playful. And then beginning to make your way into Shavasana. So lengthening your legs out onto the mat. Maybe wiggling those shoulder blades underneath you. Letting the facial muscles relax. Letting the breath go back to its normal pace. Very slowly begin to bring movement back into your body. You can start anywhere you want, fingers, toes. Maybe roll the ankles, roll the wrists. Perhaps take a nice long stretch. When you're ready, just begin to make your way onto either your left or your right side. And just notice how you feel. And as you press up to a seated position, think about taking a little bit of this yoga off the mat with you today. Remembering to be kind, have compassion with others that you come across. We'll bring our hands together at the heart space. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this morning. The light in me honors that same light in each of you. Namaste.